Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something very personal, and that is the concept of assimilation. Ever since I came to this country, I've been running from my true self. Let me explain. When I first arrived in the US at the age of 11, I did not speak a word of English. Like all of my peers, I started to learn via our ESL teachers, or ESL as we called them back then. I got made fun of a lot because I didn't speak English, and I got made fun of because of my accent. Maybe it's not that bad right now or noticeable, but trust me, it was back then. I even got into a fight once in middle school because one white kid kept calling me names over and over again for weeks, and I had enough, and it snapped when he called me a racist name. So I worked hard at hiding my Latinidad. I was proud of being Cuban, I still am, but I had to hide that pride and keep it locked away. Unlike my peers, I went from ESL level 1 to level 4 in 1 year. No one else had done that. That meant that when I started high school, I was taking regular classes, meaning not with ESL teachers, but all of my Cuban friends and my cousins were still in ESL classes. They were in a different world, really. That meant that I had to make new friends. Not just any friends, but friends who only spoke English. I had white friends and black friends. Now I'm gonna go on a small detour here. They are Afro-Latinos, and they're Latinos that look like they're from Sweden, that's a fact. But here in America, white and black mean different things. In my country, I would be considered white. But here, I was Hispanic, whatever that meant. In order to be accepted by these new friends, I had to work really hard at masking my Latinidad, my Cubanness. I had to tone it down. When I was with my Cuban and Latino friends, I was my truest self, but with my American friends, I was someone else. I wasn't fake, but it wasn't, again, my true self. I was living two realities, and that hasn't really changed much. For a long time, even among Latinos, we prefer to speak English. I'm talking about even between people whose first language was Spanish. We defaulted into English. This is especially true at work. You appear more professional even if you're having a private conversation with your Latino friends in English. Of course, the language does not make you more or less professional, but that is the reality of the world we live in. Now, over time, if you're not careful, you start feeling like you truly don't belong anywhere. You're too Latino for the white culture, and you're too Americanized for your Latino friends. You don't really belong anywhere. You feel stateless in some ways. So you have to make a choice. And after being discriminated against for so long, many of us choose the path of least resistance. We try to assimilate. We try to blend in. We try to use our hands less when speaking. We try to lower our voices. We turn down the volume on our salsa reggaeton when driving to work. We don't teach our kids Spanish. I'm guilty of this, and I regret it. My oldest is 12. They're still young, and I want to rectify that. I just don't know exactly where to start. I just didn't want them growing up having an accent and getting made fun of like I did. I wanted my kids to fit in, to be part of the dominant culture. But by doing this, I have robbed them of the richness of the Cuban culture, of their Caribbean culture. I have robbed them of their beautiful and long lineage and legacy of strong and amazing Cuban people who are resilient and loving and vibrant, like our music. When I was young and I saw other Latinos in the US whose parents never taught them Spanish, I criticized them. I was young and naive, but then I experienced living in this country long enough to understand why they did it. And I chose the same thing for my kids. We chose wrong, but it seemed right at the time. It was a choice made out of fear. In the US, because of the history, discrimination and racism often gets divided into two camps, black or white. There's not a lot of room for brown in this conversation, but we're also discriminated against. We also face hardships, not only because of our skin, complexion, but also because of our accent. And I'm not trying to take away anything from the black experience. Don't get me wrong. It's real and it's important to talk about that. I'm saying that Latinos face the same wrath of white supremacy. I mean, if you listen to the rhetoric lately, immigrant is almost used as a slur. Being an immigrant right now, especially a Latino immigrant, it's a dangerous thing to be. It feels that way. I grew up in Miami for a while after I left Cuba. And even though I did face discrimination because of the factors I mentioned earlier, it was nothing compared to when I moved into the New West. I remember that the first week I was here, I had a pretty unfortunate and terrifying encounter. I parked at a gas station. At the pump, I was going to get gas. And then my grandma calls me. So I pick up the phone. Now, my grandma, of course, doesn't speak English at all, unless you count when she says, "I'm sorry, going to accuse me," but that's all she says. That's my grandma for you. Anyway, so I answered the call, and I'm talking to my grandma, and then I got out of the car, and then I see this older white man getting out of this big white truck, with what seemed to be maybe construction, I'm not sure. There were three white males. Then this older man, like I mentioned, he got out, and he made eye contact with me, and then he said something really, really racist with a cuss word in front of it. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but it does have something to do with the word speak being mispronounced. So you figure that out. So he said that to me, and then he spits on the ground, staring at me. And then he walked away to go inside the gas station. I was shocked and I was angry, but I was more shocked than anything. I wanted to say something, but then I looked at the truck and the two younger white males were glaring at me. They're just waiting for me to say something. So I didn't. It wasn't worth it. I just got my gas and walked away. I just drove away. But that's just one story. I have many others like that. The point is the pressures to assimilate are real. And for a long time, I gave in to them. Only very recently have I bought items like clothing and the like with the Cuban flag on them. And I was born in Cuba. Some people see you wearing a Cuban flag and think in a shirt or whatever and think that somehow it means that you don't appreciate this country. But people are not just one thing. We can hold multiple ideas and identities at the same time. I am an American citizen now, and I'm proud of that. But Cuba is my homeland, my country, and my heritage, and I'm proud of that too, and I'm tired of hiding it. I'm tired of trying to fit in to make people around me feel more comfortable. I'm tired of making myself small so others can feel big. I'm tired of my other Latino, bilingual friends speaking to me in English when I talk to them in Spanish over and over again so they get the hint. But I get it. I was like them. We're all on our own different journeys. I'm not trying to pressure them. I'm just trying to break them free from the lie that they have to hide themselves, that they have to hide their Latinidad. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to show up to work tomorrow with maracas or something like that. But I'm not going to try so hard to hide my Cubanness. It is who I am. It's not all I am, but it's a big part of me, and I'm proud of that. Thank you for watching. Muchísimas gracias. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon.